Hi and welcome to this little tutorial on my YouTube channel. For this one we're going to create a lovely watercolor Christmas tree. We start out with my brush set which is available on my Skillshare classes, and I'm going to use this brush set, but you can use any brush you like. If you have my brushes, I will talk to you about sizes, and you can do whatever you want. If you use other ones' brushes, it's okay. And we're starting out with the watercolor scribble brush for my classes, and I have it on 7%. I have a watercolor paper which is also available in my classes, and I'm going to draw on the layer underneath all the textures. So for this one I'm going to make 3 little dots here. These are just the points I want to stay in between for my Christmas tree, and I think it's too wide, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, like so, and put him a little bit higher. So I think that will be okay. And then I'm going to create a new layer, and on that I'm going to draw very fast but very roughly my Christmas tree. So with a little bit of pressure and some open lines, approximately something like this. And underneath I'm going to make a little tree trunk. So, and now I'm going to get rid of these 3 dots, and I think my Christmas tree already has a perfect shape by now. And now I'm going to select this one, go to the tab on the layer, tap on select, and now you see we have a selected area, so you can see the stripe outside of the tree. And now I'm going to make the tree invisible again, but you can still see the shape of the tree. You see when you have the lines, and in between you see the shapes of the Christmas tree we made earlier. And let it be in this selection the whole time, because we're needing this. And now I'm going to create a new layer. You can see this shape as when you do a watercolor painting for real, and you have to wet the area you want to drop your color pigments in. And that's what we are going to do. So I've wetted my iPad. Wetten it, not really, because the iPads don't like water. So, and now I'm going to choose some rainbow colors. I'm going to start with a reddish pink at the bottom, and using the same brush, make it to a size 10, something like that. And we're going to fill in some colors. And we do it loosely, and underneath I'm going to do a little more. And then I'm going to choose a lighter pink. I'm going to slightly overlap them a little bit, not too much. And create another color, a bit bluish one. And then I'm going to the green one. And you can choose the colors you like, but make sure they blend well and fit well together. Oh, do this one and do some yellow at the top. Like this. And now we're going to smudge them. So I have now used my watercolor brush, and now I want to smudge with the same brush. So I tap the smudge tool and hold it there, and now it's automatically selected the same brush. Excuse me. I'm going to give it a 7 or 8%, and I'm going to smudge that a bit. So I'm going to blend the colors. Do you hear what I'm doing? I'm tapping and dabbing. So I will keep my textures a bit alive in this drawing. We don't want to smudge it all the way. Just tap and dab a little bit and let those colors bleed into each other. And now I'm going to do all the way from the bottom, slightly with a little pressure, all the way, taking those colors up. So I don't lift my pencil while doing this. So I've created a lovely mix towards the top, and I'm going to do that down also now. So I'm also dragging a little bit of color down again. And now I think I have a perfect bleeding of the colors. And we're going to start and make a harder edge on the outside, because watercolor always has a harder edge. And we're doing that by adding another layer. Make it black, choose black for coloring, but we're also going to set that layer on overlay. And what that does is it darkens the color, because I use black, to a darker version of the color here. So still on selection, don't touch the selection. We're going to use the same brush, and I'm going to the outer side of the drawing, and I will zoom in for you so you can see what it does. It's going to darken the color underneath, and it uses the same color. So you don't have to choose all new colors all the way. Just a little bit, roughly, going to the outer edges, and sometimes going a little bit in. And the lighter the color, the less you can see the darker shades, because there's not much color to darken. So you can play with that. And somewhere in between, I'm going to give it some depth also. And now I'm going to smudge that also a little bit by tapping and dabbing. So it looks like real watercolor bleed. But just make sure you keep the outer edges and these rough edges and your textures alive. So I think our Christmas tree is lovely by now. And now I'm going to add a yellow star. And now when I think the tree is ready, I can get rid of my selection. And this is how it looks right now. I like zooming in. So I think this is a lovely rainbow Christmas tree. And now I'm going to make a new layer on top of that, and I choose my yellow, and I'm going to draw a little star with the same brush, the watercolor scribble brush, but make it smaller, like 3%, and I'm going to draw a little star on top of it, just like a star shape. And for that one I'm going to color again over it on the lower side of the star, and then I'm going to blend it with the same brush again, also a little bit smaller. So you can see the color differences. You still see the light and the darks, but I think this is too much yellow on top. So I'm going to pull in, and that's something you can't do in real watercoloring. You're going to pull in some whites. So let the outside of the paper bleed into your star again. Just a little bit. And make sure it's a rough shape, so no clean lines. We don't want that in watercolor. So I think this is a nice star on top of it. And I think it's almost ready. We're just going to write something in a gray color, because it's almost Christmas. And I think we can do a Merry Christmas for that. And perhaps you can draw right away, but let's make it easier for ourselves. And it's on a new layer. This is my star layer. So I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to create a line. So I've got my messy brush pen. I create a line. Hold it. Let it snap to a straight line. It didn't. Hold it there. Let it snap. Yep. And now put your finger so you have a perfect angle of the line. And create a new layer on top of that, and maybe make this a little less opaque, so it's not in our face. Create a new layer on top of that, and that's the layer you're going to write on. And let's write some Merry Christmas. I have my brush set on 7%. And this is a pressure sensitive brush, so for my thicker downstrokes I give a little bit more pressure, and for my upstrokes they are a little bit less. So let's write Merry Christmas. And if you're not sure about yourself, create a new layer on top of that. So you have your words on different layers, so you can move them with the arrow. Merry Christmas. And now I'm short of space, so I can move this already on top of this one. It's no harm done. And make another S. So I'm going to move my Mary in front of this, so I don't change the size of this yet, only when I have them in the same layer. So when I think it's okay how they stood here, the words and the space between them, then I'm going to merge those layers and then I can change the shape. Oh, I have to go to uniform for that. I can change the size, and now it changes the same way. So, and we can get rid of the line underneath. And here you have your Rainbow Christmas. Perhaps this is too much to the top of the paper, so I'm going to take all of the Christmas tree parts, select it, turn it into a group, and when I tap on the new group I can change the shape of the whole group. So now it's here. Yep. And let's make this a more cheerful tree. So why don't we add some festive lights in it, or some slingers. I don't know how to say them in English. Well, you know it when you see it. So let's go to a fine tip. I have got a fine tip which I made some adjustments to. For me it's on 30%, but you can also use your monoliner. So and we have to do it on white. So select your white. Just create some nice shapes in your Christmas tree. And on top of that, also on a new layer, I'm going to play with some fine dots here. And what size would I want them? Let's try 13%. And I'm going to create some dots underneath and on top of those lines. And you can also do this with other brushes. You don't need to have my brushes, but this is the way I make my tutorial. So if you have those brushes, you can get them. And if you're a Skillshare member, you can pick them for free in my class. And if you aren't a Skillshare member yet, I have a free link below this video. So you can try Skillshare for 2 weeks for free. You find my classes and 1,000 other creative classes. You can watch for free for 2 weeks only. So you can take a look. I hope you like this video so far. It's a simple watercolor technique made in Procreate. And if you like this video, please give me a follow and leave a thumbs up so I can see that you liked it, and perhaps I can do some more. So thank you for watching, and perhaps see you another time. Bye bye.